Hello and welcome to the very first midweek episode of 2022. Woo! Yeah. This week, we're only going to have the one midweek episode this week, and it's going to be, I guess, recapping our I'm going to give you my top 5 Canadian storylines of 2021, obviously in the sports aspect, and then Celso will round up with 5 to make it a top 10, so... I guess.
Well, mine aren't in any particular order.
In no particular order. So he's going to get 5 honorable mentions, and I'm going to give you my top 5 right now. So I'm going to start number 5. My number 5 Canadian sports moment of 2021, Andre DeGrasse. He's won a medal in every event he's ever participated in, which is baffling to me. And every Olympic event he's participated in, he has won a medal. So I think that's a big deal, the fact that he keeps on winning. And yeah, so I mean, I think the fact that it was a gold medal in the 200 meters, was it a bronze in the 100?
Bronze in the 100,
so it's, and if I'm not mistaken, so the 100 meter, if you win it, you're considered the fastest man on earth, right? Yeah, the fastest athlete in the world. And if you win the decathlon, you're considered the best athlete in the world, which we'll get to in a second. He's insane, man. Like he's current Canadian record holder of the 200 meters, in which he ran the 9:62, and it was the 8th fastest time in the history of that event, which is absolutely incredible as well. And yeah, like it's just absolutely insane. He's continually winning medals for Canada every single Olympics. And if I'm not mistaken, was he the first male to win a medal in the Tokyo Olympics for Canada? I think so.
I believe so, yeah.
I think so. So he always does well for us, and yeah, always wins. And it's been nice. So he's participated in 2 Olympics and has won 6 medals. And has played in 3 events in each Olympics. So, not bad.
Not bad at all.
No, not bad at all. But moving on.
Number 4.
Penny Oleksiak breaking the Canadian record for most medals in the Olympic Games. She broke the record by winning her 7th medal and has become the most decorated Canadian athlete, or the most decorated Canadian Olympian of all time. I think she's 18. She's definitely underneath the age of 20, so she will only continue to get more medals. Yeah, she was 16 in Rio, so she was 21 in Tokyo. She's still not at her prime. I think the swimming prime is around 23 to 26, around there. So I can see her winning more medals and adding to that record. And I think it's going to be very, very, very difficult for anybody to ever beat that Canadian record.
Probably.
Honestly, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. So good on her. She was part of the group of women that won like the first 99% of our medals in the Olympics anyways. And yeah, she's from Toronto, Ontario, if I'm not mistaken, and she came out of nowhere in Rio, winning a few of those medals. And she's just been absolutely insane, man. Like, she has like a specialty, I guess, but like she continually just proves to do well. Like, she got a silver in the 4x100 meter freestyle this last year. She got a bronze in the 200 meter freestyle. And then she got a bronze in the 4x100 meter medley this year. I don't know what those mean. At the moment of the 2016 Olympics, she got a Olympic record in the 100 meter freestyle, and she got gold. And then she got 2 bronze and a silver in the last one. So total, she has 4 bronze, 2 silver, and a gold, which makes it 7. So
nice.
This next year, 2024 Olympics, I guarantee, like, she has to be one of the
next 2 years.
In the next couple of years, sorry. She has to be one of the favorites to win some medals as well.
Oh, yeah.
And just add to those totals, man. Like, the Canadian team behind her is getting better, so she might win the relays more likely. And then the personal one, hopefully she continues to do well. So
she'll continue to dominate.
Yeah. That is my number 4. Number 3.
Number 3.
Has to be Damian Warner.
Yes.
Winning the decathlon.
I like that one. I like that one.
32 years of age. So it's not like he's ancient by any means. But the fact that he won the decathlon, making him the greatest athlete on the planet at the moment, that's a big deal. And not only that, he shattered a Canadian record.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's an Olympic record too. a total of 9,018 points, which is an Olympic record for the decathlon. There's only 4 people who have ever reached more than 9,000 points in the decathlon in international competition.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely insane.
And he also won the Le Marche this year too.
And
or
last
last year.
Marche. Yeah, 2021.
Yeah, 2021.
2021's Le Marche, yeah. So that is my number 3. I think it's fitting that he has to be like amongst the top 5 because it's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that the decathlete is considered the best athlete in the world, and this is a sports podcast, so like we need to talk about the best athlete in the world, and that's Damian Warner. The fact that he did it at the age of 32, absolutely incredible.
That's pretty crazy, yeah.
And he's widely considered, and obviously this should be cementing him as the greatest decathlete to ever come out of Canada. He's considered that. And there's this young guy coming up that Warner's like, hey, watch out, Canada, like I'm not the only good decathlete here, like this my homie over here is actually pretty decent too. I forget what his name is, but maybe in the next Olympics in 2024 we'll be able to talk about him a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the decathlon is baffling to me. You need to be good at 10 events. You can't be bad at one of them because it's just not, like, you have to be elite amongst the best. And if I'm not mistaken, his long jump at the decathlon would have been good enough for bronze in the individual event.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
dang.
He's actually, like, he's an elite athlete in so many different aspects. Like, hurdles, he would have been able to make it in, like, the final heat. Like, he wouldn't have gotten a medal, but, like, he would have, what's it called?
It would have been like
he would have been in the final heat
yeah.
for the hurdles too. Like it's not like they're like all mediocre. He's mediocre at a bunch of different things. Like he's elite at a bunch of different things. Yeah. So that was incredible. Good for bronze. Can you imagine? Long jump. Good lord. When track was in high school, I did or junior high, I did triple jump, long jump, and 800 meters.
I faked being injured and I didn't do my track stuff when it was track time.
I can't imagine being that good at that many events. Like genuinely,
that
the greatest
crazy.
athlete in the world is Damian Warner, which is incredible. Number 2. It's got to be Team Canada finishing the calendar year first place in CONCACAF qualifying for the World Cup. Everybody listening knows I'm a diehard soccer/football fan. You know what I mean? Like I've loved it ever since I could walk. Like I've loved soccer my entire life. And the fact that I have, like, we're also Peruvian, but the fact that my home country, where I live, is doing so well, and not only like competing, but like genuinely being a competitive powerhouse in soccer right now. That's saying something, man. I've never in my lifetime seen a Canadian team this good, and I will continue to say it, and they're only getting better because they're all so young. And John Herdman is incredible. He deserves a statue in every major Canadian city.
Just everywhere outside, like all like the football stadiums, because that's basically where we're playing. Soccer, like our major soccer, like at the football stadiums. No. Just have a statue in all the football stadiums.
That's huge. We can't understate that enough. So they won the Gold Cup in 2000, then they qualified for the World Cup last in the 80s.
Yep.
But Canada's all-time high ranking of 40th was achieved in 97 as well. Like we're tied between then and now. But this is by far the best team. We have Alphonso Davies, who was put in the top, FIFA's best 11 in the world. Jonathan David, who's crushing it in France, and who's actually, I don't know if we didn't talk about this in the podcast, but his agent has gone out and said that this is his last season in Lille. He'll be moving to a big club next year.
I can definitely see that. Yeah.
Like a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a Chelsea, Man U, like one of those big teams.
Just go to Bayern,
or even PSG.
Just go with Davies.
Bayern, right? It could work.
Just go to my team. Just go to Bayern.
I'd love him to go to Bayern. Then I'd be able to become a Bayern fan because there's 2 Canadians on there. But no, I've decided to not stick with one specific team. Just cheer for any Canadian players on any team. So, yes, I'll just cheer for Canada. Anyways, but like this Canadian team finishing first above Mexico and the States, having 2 ties away at Mexico and at US, and then beating Mexico at home. They have a very legitimate chance of qualifying for this World Cup, and they should be competitive. This is a team that can be competitive for years to come now. They have good young pieces coming up. They have a couple veteran pieces that aren't useless quite yet, that are providing good leadership to the team. But they have areas to improve, but first place in CONCACAF The fact that they haven't even made it to the final round of qualification, what seems like eternity, but if I'm not mistaken, it has been almost a decade since they've made it to the final round of qualification. So this is massive.
Like you said, first place in CONCACAF, like ahead of Mexico and ahead of the States.
And then the 2 games at the Azteca in the last window, the fact that they were like full of, and then there's people like in hockey jerseys, but like that are getting out of their typical comfort zone to watch more Canadian athletes play. Like,
I'm guessing that was like electric. The only like Canada thing they had. So
right, but that's the point I'm trying to get across though. It's like they're not used to watching the men's national team. That's why they probably don't have a jersey or anything. They wore anything Canada that they can.
15, minus 20.
Okay, so. But you're understanding.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Like it's typical like hockey fans that are coming in like, oh, this soccer team seems pretty good. Let's go support them for a couple games. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like they're uniting a country that's so divided on everything right now, but they're uniting them in sport, which is incredible. So that's my number 2.
Oh wait, you also can't forget about that Panama goal.
That Panama goal too was absolutely incredible. It's just at the beginning, they were not winning the games they were supposed to. Okay, they didn't beat Honduras, and they didn't beat Jamaica away.
They weren't losing though, but they weren't.
They tied them.
Yeah,
okay,
but they weren't winning.
Those are games that they should have. Like your home games, especially against the lesser teams, they have to be wins.
Yeah,
have to be wins.
Yeah,
and they dropped 4 points. And arguably, they probably could have won in Mexico. They just got tired near the end, but they played well enough to be able to win in Mexico. Like they dropped some points. Like they're first right now. They could have been a lot higher up in first, right? But they also could have been 4th if that goal by Alphonso Davies didn't go in. If he didn't do that magic, witchcraft, whatever the heck you want to call it. So
he's so fast, but to pull the ball back as he was just sprinting. He didn't stop. He just ran.
It's so skilled.
Brought the ball back and just kept running.
Not only that, he pulled it from between the guy's legs pretty much, without touching him. That was incredible. Anyways, we can literally have an entire episode of how good that goal was. But for me, that's a number 2 storyline for many reasons, but mainly the fact that the country is surrounding and going around this team and uniting behind this team. How good this team really can be in future, and how much development and how much the country's sports, how much soccer is growing within Canada now.
Yeah,
I'd be really interested to see how many more people have signed up their kids for soccer in the last few years because of what the Canadian men and number one, the Canadian women winning gold in Tokyo Olympics. For me, not only is it the greatest sport moment of 2021, it is the greatest sport moment of the 21st century for me.
And
I'm going to go
sport.
Okay. I'm going to go as far as saying that the greatest Canadian sports moment of the 21st century for me personally is the women winning gold in Tokyo, the soccer gold. The golden goal by Crosby could have potentially been up there, or if Oilers would have won the cup in 2006, personally for me that would have been probably that. However, the number one
Toronto winning the NBA,
that's definitely in top 5.
Yeah,
definitely in the top 5 for sure. But for me, it's the Canadian women, especially in just specifically Canadian sports context. Mm-hmm. Every woman on that team is Canadian. Not a single Raptor on that team was Canadian. It's a Canadian team, right? And Crosby, Canada winning the gold in 2010. Big deal too.
Big deal, but
they were all Canadian, but were expected to win gold in hockey.
Yeah.
Right? They're expected to win gold in hockey. And then there's so many awesome things that happened, but for me, what made me by far the most emotional too was the women winning gold in Rio. Not Rio, in Tokyo. They started their run in London, bronze.
Yeah.
Rio, bronze. And then in Tokyo, they're just change the medal, which that would have been tough. There's a lot of I don't think people understand, man. Women's soccer is actually really high-leveled elite soccer. I don't know what it is. It's high level.
Yes. Yeah.
God, it's so much fun to watch. They're fast. There's so much skill involved. The tactics are good. They're ruthless. It is fantastic television. I love watching the women's soccer, especially Olympic levels. Yeah, love it. I would rather watch Olympic women's soccer than MLS, than a lot of actually international men's teams, to be completely honest. The Canadian women's team, I would have rather watched them a billion times over than the Canadian men's a few years back.
A few years back, yeah.
Before, yeah. But this Canadian women's team, what Christine Sinclair has done for this country, this is for me the great. Like, this was just the fact that they finally won for Christine freaking Sinclair, and she can cement herself as the greatest female soccer player to ever touch this earth. It's between her and Abby Wambach. Abby Wambach was exceptional as well. What an incredible talent Abby Wambach was. And if we're talking about goals per game, Abby Wambach is better. But if we're talking about what you've done for your country,
for the sport,
there's no question Christine Sinclair is and she had less around her too for so long.
Oh, yes.
Let's not take away from the Mathesons, the Tancredis, all of them, the LeBlancs, let's not take away from them. But they're not as good as the States were. And Christine Sinclair in London single-handedly carried us all the way up there. Like, what was it, a 4-goal game in the semifinal where the ref decided that the States should win that game, right?
Yeah.
The number one storyline is Christine Sinclair finally winning that elusive international trophy with a Team Canada that no one expected to win.
No.
Honestly, I would even say some of the Canadian media probably didn't even expect it. I will straight up tell you with a straight face, I did not expect it. I thought another bronze would have been really nice. I would have been very happy with another bronze. Silver. But the fact that they won gold and so many different players stepped up, not necessarily named Christine Sinclair. Mm-hmm. Like the Stephanie LeBay, greatest goaltender in the world this year, no question. Jessie Fleming, the most clutch penalties that could have possibly... Like, those are not easy penalties to make. She scored 3 penalties in the last 2 games. 2 of them directly resulting in a win against the States and the tie against Sweden. And then, a penalty to put us up ahead against Sweden in the shootout. And you can't take away... Christine Sinclair might not have scored 1 billion goals in the Olympics. She might not have been our leading striker in goals or anything like that. But Christine Sinclair was instrumental in winning the penalty against Sweden. Instrumental in providing the leadership for the team. And
I was going to say, providing the leadership because the team wanted to win for her. Kind of.
That group of women wanted to win for Sinclair more than anything they've ever wanted in their lives. No question about that. Oh, yeah. And for me, that was the greatest storyline to come out of Canadian sports this year. Like, truly, I cried. I've said it before. I am not an emotional person at all. I cried tears of joy when we won. I was listening to the radio on the way to work. And then it was announced, we won. They scored the last penalty. I couldn't believe it. I was honking my horn like crazy. People were thinking I was, road raging and whatnot. No. For me, it's the greatest storyline by far this year. But I would argue it's the greatest storyline of the 21st century in Canadian sports. And it's going to be very difficult for anything to ever beat that. Unless the Canadian men win the World Cup next year. I think that's the only thing that could potentially rival it. Or the Canadian men winning the World Cup in any year, really. Or the women winning. The only thing that the women can do to surpass that is to win the World Cup themselves. But now they're actually favorites, so I think Canadian men winning the World Cup would be more of a storyline than the Canadian women winning a World Cup. Now, it's not a sexist thing. It's because the women already won the gold in the Olympics, so it's they can win it. Whereas the men have not won anything ever.
Never. They only qualified in the 80s.
In the Gold Cup they won 1 year. But yeah, that is my top 5. So.
That is a good top 5.
Yeah, I mean, it was so tough to choose.
It was basically my top 5 too, so...
I think that's why we decided you do the honorable mentions. Because your honorable mentions, every one of them I have as well. So let's go with your first honorable mention.
Okay, first honorable mention, not in any particular order. Might as well start with this one. Connor McDavid scoring 105 points in 56 games last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, we can't underestimate. We can't understate that. That is like Gretzky, Lemieux numbers.
Yeah. It's just amazing how on a team with basically the second best player in Leon Draisaitl, but basically doing it himself, getting those 105 points.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think
it's crazy.
That historic pace will not be matched anytime soon. No. All right, next.
Next one. Which one was it? It was Robbie Ray winning the Cy Young.
Yeah, Toronto Blue Jay winning a Cy Young.
Yeah. Which is...
And they had a pretty good season too, man.
Yeah, they had a really good season. They almost made the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, like, ever since Roy Halladay was the pitcher, we didn't really have a good starting rotation for pitchers or even just, like, any good pitching in general. Mm-hmm. And with Robbie Ray just winning the Cy Young, it was pretty good. It just helped bring eyes back to the Blue Jays, bring eyes back to Canadian baseball and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
That's a good pick.
Number 3, I said in no particular order, but the third one, Montreal Canadiens. Yep. Just going on that run to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Nice little Cinderella run. They shouldn't have even made the playoffs.
They should not even made the
typical
playoffs.
Year, but they made it, and they made it all the way to the final. Good call.
Yep. Just beating Toronto, which was
Toronto,
crazy.
Winnipeg,
and then Vegas too. Yeah, just beating surprisingly like a powerhouse now in Vegas. Just crazy. I was not expecting Montreal to go. I thought Toronto was going to finally win their first round in the playoffs. Nope. No, Montreal.
Not even with a 3-1 lead in the series.
Yep. And then just Montreal just coming back and then sweeping Winnipeg and then just battling out against Vegas.
Yeah.
So that was a good run for the Montreal Canadiens.
Yep.
And then number 4, it was Leila Fernandez.
Leila Fernandez. Yep.
Making it to the U.S. Open final.
Yep. Good one.
Yeah, we mentioned it a couple episodes ago, and I think this
last episode we mentioned it a little bit. Yep.
How she went through basically the toughest road to the finals.
Yeah, and ever since I started watching tennis like 15 years ago, that has to have been the hardest ever road to the finals ever
for anyone
ever.
Yeah, and it just happened to be Canadian.
Yep, I absolutely agree.
Number 5 could be Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Just having an amazing year. He's technically Canadian.
Well, he was born in Canada.
He was born in Canada, so
yeah, he identifies as Dominican,
but we're counting him as Canadian.
Yeah, we'll take him.
Yep. Just having an amazing year this year.
Yeah.
Just going crazy, winning the Hank Aaron Award, a runner-up in the MVP in the AL. Just crazy.
I'll give one more honorable mention too, and it's Freddie Freeman and Alex Anthopoulos winning the World Series with the Atlanta Braves this last year. That will be my honorable mention, my last one as well, that I think you can add on to that. So anyways, thank you everybody for listening to our 2021 recap episode. We'll see you later on next week.